Hey there, everybody. So tonight's bedtime story is Dr. Spock's Baby and Childcare. Um, I am terribly amused by just how thick this thing is, but well, first of all, a friend of mine reminded me that it exists, and I did say that I was interested in reading it. And secondly, I wanted to see how much my parents got out of this, and the book cheated. Because the very first thing it mentions is, oh yeah, think about how your parents raised you, because that's how you're going to do things yourself. That's cheating! No, I wanted the book to show me what they learned. So, yeah, strange as it sounds, that has been my bedtime reader just for no reason other than it's actually just very loving in an informative way, or informative in a loving way, whatever. And before somebody in particular believes that I am being more mischief than um, entertaining, uh, I ordered this on Thursday. Just, just so you know, I did it myself. So the actual story for tonight is the cat that walked by himself. Oh, that is my phone. Hear and attend and listen, for this befell and behappened and became and was, O my best beloved, when the tame animals were wild. The dog was wild, the horse was wild, the cow was wild, and the sheep was wild, as was the pig was wild. As wild could be, and they walked out in the wet wild woods by their wild lones. But the wildest of all of the wild animals was the cat. He walked by himself, and all places were alike to him. Of course, the man was wild too. He was dreadfully wild. He didn't even begin to be tame until he met the woman. And she told him that she did not like living his wild ways. She picked out a nice, dry cave instead of a heap of wet leaves to lie down in, and she strewed sand on the floor, and she lit a nice fire of wood at the back of the cave, and she hung a dried wild horse skin, tail down, across the opening of the cave, and she said, "Wipe your feet, dear, when you come in, and now we'll keep house." That night, O best beloved, they ate wild sheep roasted on the hot stones, and flavored with wild garlic and wild pepper, with wild duck stuffed in wild rice, or with wild, that would have been very difficult, with wild duck stuffed with wild rice, and wild fenugreek and wild coriander, and marrow bones of wild oxen, with wild cherries and wild grenadillas. Then the man went to sleep in front of the fire, ever so happy. But the woman sat up, combing her hair. She took the bone of the shoulder of mutton, the big flat blade bone, and she looked at the wonderful marks on it, and she threw more wood on the fire, and she made a magic. She made the first singing magic in the world. Out in the wet wild woods, all of the wild animals gathered together where they could see the light of the fire a long way off, and they wondered what it meant. Then Wild Horse stamped with his wild foot and said, "O my friends and O my enemies, why have the man and the woman made that great light in that great cave, and what harm will it do to us?" Wild Dog, who is laying over in the bedroom being adorable, O best beloved. Wild Dog lifted up her wild nose and smelled the smell of a roast mutton, and said, "I will go up and see and look and say, for I think that it is good. Cat, come with me." For Opal is a sweet and very good dog who is also curious and wants to eat stuff. "Nenny," said the cat, "I am the cat who walks by herself, and all places are alike to me. I will not come." "Then we can never be friends again," said Wild Dog, and she trotted off to the cave. But when she had gone a little way off, the cat said to herself, "All places are alike to me. Why should I not go too, and see and come away at my own liking?" So she slipped after Wild Dog softly, very softly, and hid herself where she could hear everything. When Wild Dog reached the mouth of the cave, she lifted up the dry horse skin with her nose and sniffed the beautiful smell of roast mutton. And the woman, looking at the blade bone, heard her and laughed and said, "Oh, here comes the first. Wild thing out of the wild woods, what do you want? And Wild Dog said, O enemy of my enemy, O my enemy and wife of my enemy, what is it that smells so good in these wild woods? Then the woman picked up the roast mutton bone and threw it to Wild Dog and said, Wild thing out of these wild woods, taste and try. Wild Dog gnawed at the bone, and it was more delicious than anything she had ever tasted. And she said, O my enemy and wife of my enemy, please give me another. Big brown eyes, give me another. You're so beautiful. I love you so much, chicken. And the woman said, Wild thing out of the wild woods, help my man to hunt through the day and guard this cave at night, and I will give you as many roast bones as you need, and he will give you half of his dinner every night because he loves you so much, and probably leave out the onion and garlic from his own mac and cheese because he loves you so much and not want you to get sick. Ingrid. Ah, said the cat, listening. This is a very wise woman, but she is not so wise as I am. Wild Dog crawled up into the cave and laid her head on the woman's lap and said, O my friend and wife of my friend, I will help your man hunt through the day, and at night I will guard your cave, because I love you so much. Ah, said the cat, listening, that is a very foolish dog. And she went back into the wet wild woods, waving her wild tail and walking by her wild lone, but she never told anybody. When the man waked up and said, What is Wild Dog doing here? And the woman said, Her name is not Wild Dog anymore, but First Friend, because she will be our friend forever and always and always. Take her with you when you go hunting, and she will eat all of the poop. It's very difficult to read bedtime stories to somebody who is in the other room asleep. The next night, the woman cut great green armfuls of fresh grass from the water meadows and dried it before the fire so that it smelt like new-mown hay. And she sat at the mouth of the cave and plaited a halter out of horsehide. And she looked at the shoulder of mutton bone, at the big broad blade bone, and she made a magic. She made the second singing magic in the world. Out in the wild woods, all the wild animals wondered what had happened to Wild Dog. And at last, Wild Horse stamped with his foot and said, I will go and see and say why Wild Dog has not returned. Cat, come with me. Nenny, said the cat. I am the cat who walks by herself, and all places are alike to me. I will not come. And all the same, she followed Wild Horse softly, very sneaky, and hid herself where she could hear everything. Oh, that's a little cruel. A horsehide halter for the horse. Oh, that's mean. When the woman heard the wild horse tripping and stumbling on his long mane, she laughed and said, Here comes the second. Wild thing out of the wild woods, what do you want? And Wild Horse said, O enemy and wife of my enemy, where is the wild dog? The woman laughed and picked up the blade bone and looked at it and said, Wild thing out of the wild woods, you did not come here for Wild Dog, but for the sake of this good grass. And Wild Horse, tripping and stumbling on his long mane, said, That is true. I came. Give it to me to eat. The woman said, Wild thing out of the wild woods, bend your wild head and wear what I give you, and you shall eat the wonderful grass 3 times a day. Ah, said the cat, that is a very clever woman, but she is not so clever as I am. Wild Horse bent his wild head, and the woman slipped the plaited hide halter over it. And Wild Horse breathed on the woman's feet and said, O my mistress and wife of my master, I will be your servant for the sake of this wonderful grass. Ah, said Cat, listening, that is a very foolish horse. And she went back through the wet, wild woods, waving her wild tail and walking by her wild lone, but she never told anybody. When the man and the dog came back from hunting, the man said, "What is Wild Horse doing here?" And the woman said, "He is not Wild Horse any more, but first servant, because he will carry us from place to place for always and always. Ride on his back when you go hunting." The next day, holding her wild head high, that her wild horns could not catch in the wild trees, Wild Cow came up to the cave, and the cat followed, and hid herself just as the same before. And everything happened just the same as before, and the cat said the same things as before, for so clever is cat. And when Wild Cow had promised to give her milk to the woman every day in exchange for the wonderful grass, the cat went back through the wet, wild woods, waving her wild tail and walking by her wild lone, just the same as before. But she never told anybody. And when the man and the horse and the dog came back from hunting and asked the same questions, same as before, the woman said, "Her name is not Wild Cow anymore, but the giver of good food. She will give us warm white milk for always and always and always, and she will give us cowlicks when we least expect them, and I will take care of her while you and first friend and first servant go hunting." The next day, Cat waited to see if any of the other wild things would go up to the cave, but no one moved in the wet, wild woods. So Cat walked there by herself, and she saw the woman milking the cow, and saw the light of the fire in the cave, and smelt the smell of warm white milk. Cat said, "O my enemy, and wife of my enemy, where did Wild Cow go?" The woman laughed and said, "Wild thing, out of the wild woods, go back to the woods again, for I have braided up my hair, and I have put away my magic blade bone, and we have no need for either friends nor servants in our cave." Cat said, "I am not a friend, and I am certainly not a servant. I am the cat who walked by herself, and I wish to come into your cave." The woman said, "Then why did you not come with first friend on the first night?" And Cat grew very angry and said, "Has Wild Dog told tales of me?" Then the woman laughed and said, "You are the cat who walks by herself, and all places are alike to you. You are neither friend nor servant. You have said it yourself. Go away and walk alone in all places alike." Then Cat pretended to be sorry and said, "Must I never come into the cave? Must I never sit by the warm fire? Must I never drink the warm white milk? You are very wise and very beautiful. You should not be so cruel, even to a cat." And the woman said, "I knew I was wise, but I did not know I was beautiful. So I will make a bargain with you. If ever I say one word in your praise, you may come into the cave." "And if you say 2 words of my praise?" said the cat. "I never shall. But if I say 2 words of your praise, you may sit by the fire in the cave." "And if you say 3 words?" said the cat. "I never shall. But if I say 3 words in your praise, you may drink the warm white milk 3 times a day for always and always and always." Then the cat arched her back and said, "Now let the curtain at the mouth of the cave, and the fire at the back of the cave, and the milk pots that stand beside the fire, remember that what my enemy and the wife of my enemy has said." And she went back through the wet, wild woods, waving her wild tail and walking by her wild lone. And that night, when the man and the horse and the dog came home from hunting, the woman did not tell them of the bargain that she had made with the cat, because she was afraid that they might not like it. Cat went far and far away and hid herself in the wet, wild woods by her wild lone for a long time, until the woman forgot all about her. Only the bat, the little upside-down bat, the little brown bat, that hung inside of the cave, knew where Cat hid, and every evening Bat would fly to Cat with news of what was happening. for it was a delightful little helpful skymouthy. One evening Bat said, "There is a baby in the cave. He is new and pink and fat and small, and the woman is very fond of him." "Ah," said the cat, listening, "but what is the baby fond of?" "Well, he is fond of things that are soft and tickle," said the bat. "He is fond of warm things to hold in his arms when he goes to sleep. He is fond of being played with. He is fond of all of those things, and most excruciatingly, the dog named Opal." "Ah," said the cat, listening, "then my time has come." Next night, Cat walked through the wet, wild woods and hid very near the cave until morning time, and man and dog and horse went hunting. The woman was busy cooking that morning, and the baby cried and interrupted. So she carried him outside the cave and gave him a handful of pebbles to play with. But still the baby cried, for My Little Pony had not yet been invented. Then the cat put out her patty paw and batted the baby on the cheek, and it cooed, and the cat rubbed against the baby's fat knees and tickled under his chin with his tail, and the baby laughed, and the woman heard him and smiled. And then the bat, the little upside-down bat, that hung in the mouth of the cave, said, "O my hostess and wife of my host and mother of my host's son, a wild thing from the wild woods is most beautifully playing with the baby." "A blessing on that wild thing, whoever she may be," said the woman, straightening her back, "for I was a busy woman this morning, and she has done me a service." That very minute and very second, best beloved, the dried horse skin curtain that was stretched tail down at the mouth of the cave fell down, whoop, because it remembered the bargain that she had made with the cat. And when the woman went to pick it up, lo and behold, the cat was sitting quite comfy in his cave. "O my enemy, and wife of my enemy, and mother of my enemy," said the cat, "it is I, for you have spoken a word of praise. A word in my praise, and now I can sit within the cave for always and always and always. But I am still the cat who walks by herself, and all places are alike to me." The woman was very angry, and shut her lips tight, and took up her spinning wheel and began to spin. But the baby cried because the cat had gone away, and the woman could not hush it, for it struggled and kicked and grew black in the face. "O my enemy, and wife of my enemy, and mother of my enemy," said the cat, "take a strand of the thread that you are spinning, and tie it to your spinning whorl, and drag it along the floor, and I will show you a magic that shall make your baby laugh as loudly as he is now crying." "I will do so," said the woman, "because I am at my wit's end, but I will not thank you for it." She tied the thread to the little clay spindle whorl, and drew it across the floor, and the cat ran after it, and patted it with her paws, and rolled head over heels, and tossed it back over her shoulder, and chased it between her legs, and pretended to lose it, and pounced down upon it again, until the baby laughed as loudly as it had been crying, and scrambled after the cat, and frolicked all over the cave, until it grew tired and settled down to sleep with the cat in its arms. "Now," said the cat, "I will sing the baby a song that shall keep him asleep for an hour." And she began to purr, loud and low and loud, until the baby fell fast asleep. The woman smiled as she looked upon the two of them and said, "That was wonderfully done, no question, but you are a very clever cat." And that very minute and second, O best beloved, the smoke of the fire at the back of the cave came down in clouds from the roof, because it remembered the bargain that she had made with the cat. And when it had cleared away, lo and behold, the cat was sitting quite comfy close to the fire. "O my enemy, and wife of my enemy, and mother of my enemy," said the cat, "it is I, for you have spoken a second word of my praise. And now I can sit by the warm fire at the back of the cave for always and always and always, but I am still the cat who walks by herself, and all places are alike to me." Then the woman was very, very angry and let down her hair and put more wood on the fire and brought out her broad blade bone of the shoulder of mutton and began to make a magic that should prevent her from saying a third word of praise to the cat. It was not a singing magic, best beloved. It was a still magic, and by the cave grew so still that the wee mousie crept out of the corner and ran across the floor. "Oh, my enemy, and wife of my enemy, and mother of my enemy," said the cat. "Is that little mouse part of your magic?" "Chee, no, indeed," said the woman, and she dropped the blade bone and jumped up upon the footstool in front of the fire and braided up her hair very quick for fear that the mousie should run up into it. "Ah," said the cat, watching. "Then the mouse will do me no harm if I eat it?" "No," said the woman, braiding up her hair. "Eat it quickly, and I shall be ever so grateful to you." Cat made one jump and caught the little mousie, and the woman said, "100 thanks. Even the first friend is not quick enough to catch little mousies, as you have done. You must be very wise." And at that very moment and very second, O best beloved, the milk pot that stood by the fire cracked into 2 pieces, because it remembered the bargain that she had made with the cat. And when the woman jumped down from her footstool, lo and behold, smug as a cat, the cat was lapping up the warm white milk that lay in one of the broken pieces. "O my enemy, and wife of my enemy, and mother of my enemy," said the cat, "it is I, for you have spoken 3 words in my praise. And now I can drink the warm white milk 3 times a day for always and always and always. But I am still the cat who walks by herself, and all places are alike to me." And then the woman laughed and set the cat a bowl of warm white milk and said, "O cat, you are as clever as a man, but remember that your bargain was not made with the man, nor with the dog, and I do not know what they will do when they come home." "Oh, what is that to me?" said the cat. "If I have my place in the cave by the fire, and my warm white milk 3 times a day, I do not care what the man or the dog can do." That evening, when the man and the dog came into the cave, the woman told them all the story of the bargain, and while the cat sat by the fire and smiled. Then the man said, "Yes, but she has not made a bargain with me, nor all proper men after me." And then he took off his 2 leather boots, and he took up his little stone axe, that makes 3, and he fetched a piece of wood and a hatchet, that is 5 altogether, and then he set it out in a row and said, "Now we shall make our bargain. If you do not catch mice when you are in the cave for always and always and always, I shall throw these 5 things at you whenever I see you, and so shall all proper men do after me." "Ah," said the woman, listening, "that is a very clever cat, but she is not so clever as my man." The cat counted 5 things and looked very knobby, and she said, "I will catch mice when I am in the cave for always and always and always, but I am still the cat who walks by herself, and all places are alike to me." "Not when I am near," said the man. "If you had not said that last, I would have put all of these things away for always and always, but now I am going to throw 2 of my boots whenever I meet you, and so shall all proper men do after me." And then the dog said, "Wait a minute. She has not made a bargain with me, nor all proper and wonderful, loving, supportive, and loyal dogs that shall come after me." And she showed her teeth and said, "If you are not kind to the baby while I am in the cave for always and always and always, I will hunt you down and catch you. And when I catch you, I might bite you, or I will lick you to death, and so shall all proper dogs do after me." "Ah," said the woman, listening, "that is a very clever cat, but she is not so clever, nor wise, nor loving, nor wonderful and stinky as my dog." And Cat counted the dog's teeth, and they looked very pointed, and said, "I will be kind to the baby while I am in the cave, as long as he does not pull my tail too hard, for always and always, but I am still the cat who walks by herself, and all places are alike to me." "Not when I am near," said the dog. "If you had not said that last, I would have shut my mouth for always and always, but now I am going to hunt you up a tree whenever I meet you, and so shall most proper dogs do after me." And then the man threw his 2 boots at the cat, and the cat ran out of the cave, and the dog chased her up a tree. And from that day to this, best beloved, 2 proper men out of 5 will always throw a thing at the cat whenever they meet her, and all proper dogs will chase them up a tree. But the cat keeps her side of the bargain too. She will kill mice, and she will be kind to babies when she is in the house, just as long as they do not pull her tail too hard. But when she has done that, and between times, and when the moon gets up and the night comes, she is the cat who walks by herself, and all places are alike to her. Then she goes out into the wet wild woods, or up into the wet wild trees, or into the wet wild roofs, waving her wild tail and walking by her wild lone. Kitty can sit up by the fire and sing, Kitty can climb a tree, or play with a silly old cork and string to amuse herself, not me. But I like Blinky, my dog, 'cause she knows how to behave. So Blinky's the same as the first friend was, and I'm the man in the cave. Kitty will play Man Friday till it's time to wet her paw, and make her walk on the windowsill for the footprint Crusoe saw. Then she shuffles her tail and mews and scratches and won't attend. But Blinky will play whenever I choose, and she is my true first friend. Kitty will rub my knees with her head, pretending she loves me hard. But the very minute I go to my bed, Kitty runs out into the yard, and there she stays till morning light, so I know it is only pretend. But Blinky, she snores at my feet all night, and she is my firstest friend. I love you, Opal.
You had best not be making a mischief. Okay, she is just licking her paws because occasionally she likes to get into mischief, and by that I mean she likes to steal the tissue box that I have by the side of the bed and eat them, or most recently just lick them out in sequence. Such a weird dog. Yeah, so anyway, it is time for me to go to bed. So just remember that if anybody can hate people for no reason, then I can love you for no reason too. So get some rest and do your best, and try to grow into somebody that you can be proud of. So love you very much. Get some sleep. And do not get too tangled up in walking the wet, wild woods by your wild self.